Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here for Nvidia. Unfortunately, it's not a great day for Nvidia shareholders. The stock was down roughly 9.5% today, and after hours, the stock is down roughly 2.4%. So in today's episode, what I want to do is take a closer look at, unfortunately, some bearish news that could be impacting the overall stock, from more allegations with the Department of Justice, AMD actually poaching vice president from Nvidia, and some other updates based on maybe potentially losing some customers. But before we go any further, I want to say with all those bearish news, I'm necessarily not bearish on the stock. I think in the short term, there's always going to be a lot of volatility. In the long term, I think we've seen plenty of evidence that Nvidia has a very strong market at its hands. So just wanted to do that before starting the intro, just because, again, I don't want to make this video a complete fear monger video, but I do want to kind of explain all the data that is happening right now with the stock. So let's get started.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
Make sure to check out my link below for my free Substack. And one of the main reasons the stock is down after hours is we did hear from Bloomberg that the Department of Justice is escalating their antitrust probe on Nvidia. So I've done videos on this in the past where the Department of Justice was kind of just gathering information. Right now, it seems like they're taking it to the next step, but it's still not an official opening of a case for Nvidia. So the United States Department is right now searching a lot of other companies, not just Nvidia, in evidence that companies like Nvidia are violating antitrust laws. The Department of Justice, which had previously delivered questionnaires to companies, is now sending legal binding requests that oblige recipients to provide information according to people familiar with the investigation, and that takes the government a step closer to launching a formal complaint. Now, the antitrust officials are concerned that Nvidia is doing the following: is making it harder to switch to other suppliers and penalize buyers that don't exclusively use its artificial intelligence chips, according to the people. So first, I've talked about this in the past. I think Nvidia's technology is just so strong at the moment that it's not that they are making it harder for customers to switch. I think at the end of the day, customers don't want to switch. Now, the second part, I think, is going to be very tricky for any evidence to come out, where it's like, hey, look, Nvidia is penalizing buyers that don't exclusively use its artificial intelligence chips. So I don't know if that's necessarily illegal, but Nvidia has responded, and they mentioned that Nvidia wins on merits as reflected in their benchmark results and value to customers who can choose whatever solutions is best for them. Now, the Department of Justice probe is also investigating Nvidia's acquisition of Run AI, a deal announced in April. Now, this is one of the reasons I think Nvidia isn't going to do many acquisitions, because the Department of Justice is just going to continue to say, hey, look, what are you doing this? What are you doing that? Even though AMD, in my mind, is doing a lot of acquisitions in the AI space, and no one's really worried about them. So I think Nvidia has the opportunity here to showcase, hey, why are you guys just attacking me? AMD, another player here in the GPU space, in the AI space, is purchasing a lot of other AI companies. You should also look at them. Regulators are also inquiring whether Nvidia gives preferential supply and pricing to customers who use its technology exclusively or buy its complete system, according to the people. Now, this is pretty stupid in my opinion, and let me say why. If I was a store owner, right, and you were a customer, that bought a lot of products from me, I'm going to give you better pricing. I'm going to give you better service, right? Because you're my number one customer. I'm going to make sure you stick with me. So it's not whether Nvidia is giving negative value to those that are not buying it, but I think Nvidia is just going to say, hey, look, it's not like we're punishing those that are not buying from us. We're just being nicer to those customers that are supporting us. So again, I thought that was pretty stupid, but again, what do I know? Let me know if my thinking here is wrong. So as an investor, this is nothing I'm worried about. I think Nvidia has plenty of evidence to kind of blow this off, and it's just creating a lot of noise. Now, in forms of stock price, when would I buy Nvidia? Before we go into any of the other topics, I think Nvidia anywhere in the hundreds or below is very great for me. And that's where I would most likely be doing nice buying opportunities for my shares. So those are just my thoughts. Anywhere around 100, I think is pretty attractive because a lot of this, in my opinion, is noise. And we've heard a lot of great news from the overall earnings, from big tech, from the AI space. Now, the second thing we kind of heard today is Nvidia, that AMD hires former Nvidia vice president to lead global AI strategy. So I'm not gonna lie, when I first read this, I was a little bit worried, and I was thinking that AMD hired kind of like a scientist, a lead VP in global AI strategies. But no, it seems like this person is more kind of like a salesperson and working kind of sovereign AI commitments with foreign governments. So it's obviously very important. But for me, and this is maybe because I'm coming from a tech background and a tech engineering and an engineering degree, that I think it's obviously a good salesperson is hard to lose. But I would say that losing an amazing engineer is a lot more painful. So obviously it could be something negative here, but it's not as bad as I thought. And the headlines make it seem like AMD is poaching some amazing talent. So nothing I would be worried there. Now, the final thing I think I want to talk about with Nvidia is earlier this week on September 2nd, we did hear reports that OpenAI is developing its own AI chip and will be developed by TSMC on its A16 process node. And this is going to be used for Sora video applications. So a few things. Some might say this and look, hey, look, Jose, OpenAI is not going to be buying Nvidia chips anymore. That's not the case. We've talked about it in the past. ASIC solutions are great for one workload. We can see here if OpenAI is developing this, it's going to be only for that video model solution. And who knows, it might only be for a subsecond within that workload. I think OpenAI is going to continue to buy plenty of NVIDIA AI chips. The other thing is this is going to be on TSMC's A16 node, which is still not out. So it's going to take some time for the chip to be developed, for manufacturing to even begin. So in the short term, I don't see this as any pain for NVIDIA. In the long term, very similar. I think NVIDIA, with their annual cadence, has nothing to really worry about. Now, I believe this is great for companies like Marvell and Broadcom that focus in compute ASIC solutions or custom compute solutions, because based on the reports, Broadcom is either working with Broadcom or Marvell with this space. Again, nothing worried for me with NVIDIA in the long term of things. Definitely a nice growth opportunity for companies like Marvell and Broadcom. Now, the other thing, just random thought process here. We have heard reports that NVIDIA is focusing on its own ASIC custom solutions. And I think that only makes sense if it's only for a very big customer. So I wouldn't be surprised, and again, these are just my crazy thoughts, that in the future, OpenAI is actually working with NVIDIA on custom ASIC solutions for certain applications. And the main reason is because NVIDIA doesn't want to lose one of its top customers and a top player in the AI space. The other thing is we have heard reports that NVIDIA is actually looking on investing in OpenAI. So I do believe if this goes in this direction, maybe NVIDIA is really going to focus on some ASIC solutions, but only for selected customers. But again, that might just be me being hopeful and blinded by my nice bullish NVIDIA position. But it's just something to think about. Peace and see you next time.